Recording. And go.
Sweat Equity Podcast and Streaming Show, #1 comedy business podcast in the world.
I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit.
Pragmatic entrepreneurial advice with real raw dog talk.
I don't give a shit.
Wow, just
Stop
hitting that one.
The G button's the only one that's working.
We got Max Traylor back on, talking more about his book, Agency Survival Guide, and how to productize consulting services and do other things better too. Volume 30. But before we get into it, we got a humble brag. We're 2021's best podcast and streaming entertainment studio, Eastern United States Media Innovator Award winner by Corporate Vision Magazine. Don't you remember growing up looking at Corporate Vision
God,
Magazine?
I can remember finding Corporate Vision magazines out in the woods. And my
That-
parents were like, "Where did you get that?"
That and Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue.
Absolutely.
That's my childhood. Listen to us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts. Subscribe, rate, review. That's the cheat code. Gets us up those business category rankings because it'd be really funny if we're up there with Tim Ferriss one day
Yeah,
because we don't belong.
Tim Ferriss sucks.
I agree. Spotify on there and
Fuck you, Tim Ferriss.
all the places.
That's me though.
All the places podcasts are published. This episode is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Try expressvpn.com/sweat. Get you 3 months free off an annual plan, a virtual private network, a computer in the sky. Don't be tracked by big data. Google knows what you're doing if you're incognito mode. Don't fuck around with it. Try expressvpn.com/sweat. Get you 3 months free off an annual plan. Who loves you but us?
I do. Oh, my bad.
Who loves you and giving you 3 months of your life back? Let's get this party started. Howdy toddy!
What about my sweat equity? Sweat equity. Sweat equity. My sweat equity. My sweat equity.
Sweat equity.
What about my sweat equity?
Have spiked coconut water
Yeah.
in my fridge because I like coconut water, and I figure, well, I might as well be hydrated.
You are fancy. Coconut water. Ooh la la.
I don't know. I just walked down like
Next, you're going
the
to tell me you got
adventure-
2 bed sheets.
it's
One underneath the comforter. What?
Duvet cover. You cover it for
is that what that is?
Your
The
furniture's
duvet
not
cover?
from IKEA?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't handle any of that. I don't handle any of that. I
So
just try
cool.
not to. I just try not to look at the credit card statement because it upsets me.
90%.
You're such a 1950s dad. Just
You really
Yeah.
are.
in
but-
a younger body.
right.
They're like, yeah, what'd you have for dinner? Steaks and cigarettes.
Oh man,
Mm.
totally. My wife was such a pain.
You know what
in
I
the
could
ass
really
about
use
it.
more of on my steak?
She hurt my hand slapping her around the other night. Am I right, guys?
To the moon, am I right?
The thing with booze, everything I think is going to go back.
Bad transition. I'm gonna
Well,
tell you right now.
I had like 5 thoughts to lead into it, and they all were like, pick me. But like,
They
That's
all
what-
result in jail time.
they
That's
all
what it's like
came
in
out
your
like
head, okay.
garbage. But I'm saying the aluminum's going to make a comeback because the plastic stuff, this ain't good. This plastic stuff ain't good. And I think
No, it's not.
I think a lot of companies have to act like they care and give a shit. But like there's studies now with the bottled water, if it's left in sunlight for too long, there's like correlations to cancer. Whether that's true or not.
We lost our way when they started to make paper straws. Like
Oh,
the
that
straws are not the problem.
well, first off, it doesn't work. A paper straw doesn't really work. Let's just start there. Like the utility of it is to
Unless
look
you
at.
like inhaling.
It works
soggy
once. One time, you'll get something through there.
That
one or
message
two
is
times.
worse though. Like if you think about it, like
We should be chopping down the trees
or I mean, like
to drink our liquids and not get.
If
it on our
anything,
face.
get yourself a really heavy duty, never going to degrade, super, heavy plastic straw. It's
yeah.
like your straw. And
Right.
like you wear it on a necklace and you just kind of,
We're good. That's how it's going to end up. We're all going to be carrying around our basic.
Hey.
You know, I got my silverware. It's my silverware. It's engraved.
My Straw. We could do it. We could do it. We could do a company. It's called My Straw.
Okay, dude, stop talking. Come on, dude. We'll talk after this.
Yeah.
We'll email back and forth about it. That's a great idea.
We can't have anybody steal it. I think all three of us are kind of the anti of that. I'm a big believer of not Purelling and stuff.
Sure.
I'm a big believer
Gross.
of
Build up the immunity.
Sure.
How about this? Eating food off the ground. Not because I'm gross.
I eat food off the ground all the time.
Because I'm cheap.
Because
No,
you're hungry.
but sometimes I take my kids'
'Cause it's
food,
there.
throw it on the ground, and then put it back on
Sure,
the
that's
table.
fine.
It didn't even fall off. I did it
There's
purposely.
Natural
Floor food, it's better.
Yeah, natural salts. Yeah.
Haven't gotten sick in
It's-
like a year.
that is science in action,
Boom, boom.
my friend.
And you definitely don't have any, unwanted shrubbery or weeds growing inside you because you probably got
Yeah.
plenty of that.
You don't get syphilis from
I don't know what they
ground
put
food.
on, but I know it's not good.
Yeah, well, the gut biome stuff connected to your brain and nerves, I think we don't know enough about that shit. Thoughts?
Yes.
Thoughts on our business podcast? Thoughts about
Sure, yeah. There's a billion of those things.
So I
that? So before we started, he was saying he has guests at his house in his pool.
Right
And
now,
he did the power move to come in to do
Really?
the interview.
but also
They're
should do
waiting.
the power move of picking up
They're
your
outside.
laptop and taking us out there so we can visually experience what you're going through.
we can do this outside, but there will be additional noises.
Well, not the whole
and
time.
I do my podcast outside as much as possible.
We're going to do one outside.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Like a
So-
substitute teacher.
Maybe when it's not balls hot
Sure.
outside, we'll do it. So
Yeah, also that. Also
Might be
that.
more appropriate to do it when it's balls hot.
November, maybe. Dude, I can barely do it in this room that has some light. air
You're a
conditioning.
pussy, though. Don't be a pussy.
I sweat all the time. I run hot, man.
The show's called Sweat Equity. It's
That's not
on
why.
brand.
That's not why. That just is a coincidence.
Weird thing.
Yeah. I'm my hands.
I know
and
nothing.
I'm a hands and feet sweater that everybody tells me some stupid remedy. I've looked it all up. It doesn't work. I looked into it when I was a kid. None of that shit works. I'm not putting botulism, Botox shots in my hand every month. 30 shots. Some people are doing that shit.
Also, you can't use your hands.
Right. And
They don't. I can't use them, but they don't sweat though.
I don't want to brag too much. I'm pretty good at fingering girls.
Right, but not anymore.
Yeah, I don't want those calluses. I wear
Well, you have no control.
dice gloves at the gym, you know.
So I don't know what you guys want to cover today, but I did
All kinds of
re-listen
shit.
re-listen to our interview, so I know what we covered last time.
Oh, boy.
And I can avoid repeating myself.
So that's good.
Which we
Shrewd.
we have a tough time with. Law's literally busting out your book
I got your book. I read it.
like he's
I read the whole thing.
like cramming.
Yeah,
Definitely saw a bookmark in there that was not all the way to the end.
that was for
Yeah, no
something.
one-
That
else.
was not for a.
Oh, you're reading it.
I just really thought that page was interesting.
How about this? How
That
about,
was a
okay.
concern- that was a
Oh,
concern.
you want some proof, guys? You want some proof? How about this? I've got.
Oh, can't wait
Instead
to
of
see the
writing
proof.
it,
That
We
means
were,
nothing.
we were worried. We were worried that people would catch you reading it last time, catch you in the act.
No, look. There's a picture of me because I took it to make a
You should-
footnote
all right. show it
instead
to
of
the
right because I'm lazy. I
Show
didn't
it
want
to
to
the
get off the
camera.
couch to look. Here's
Here's a
one thing
picture
I,
of him having the book open to page 7, and
What's the date on that? What's the date, bitch? What's the date, Mo?
July 11th.
Boom.
You should be further along than
Yeah.
page 7.
What's
my point.
today as we record this?
Hey, look,
The 20th.
20th.
Thank
yes.
you. Thank you. I was prepping
I-
because I thought you were coming on last week. You're on vacation,
I
but
know.
it didn't matter. I enjoyed it.
I was ready, man. I was ready. I brought the whole rig. I brought the whole setup, and just old people in Cape Cod. They
Well-
weren't prepared for what I was bringing.
About to shower you with compliments. Eric thinks I have a man crush on you, and you know what? I'm okay
What do you
with
mean
it.
I think?
Look, I think you're just jealous. Like I might like other guys too.
Listen,
It's a bromance.
Law stands up after these podcasts with erections all the time.
That has nothing to do. with-
After your podcast was especially
It was-
strong.
It was. I took a blue chew.
Boom. No, you didn't. It was all natural.
I just like people that have figured out shit and then can put it out there.
I haven't figured anything out.
I mean it in the most highly complimenting sort of way. The erection. that is.
I take it as a.
Good. You should.
It's not. It's a mediocre dick, so it's not an impressive achievement.
It's been a long time since someone's had a crush on me. So
A professional bromance crush, a professional crush. You know,
I got some of those.
yeah.
Right.
You know, I wish I was gay. We talk about that a lot on this show, probably once an episode on average. You know, we think our lives would be a lot easier that way.
You and me, buddy.
But you know,
Are we live? Are we doing this?
we're doing this. This is the show, baby.
Gig?
Yeah,
Is this the gig?
we like it warts and all, man. Genital warts and all.
7 minutes in.
Yeah,
Are we doing this?
we're vamping it.
Well, we're ranting. Yeah, we're yeah. Well, we primed the pump, gentlemen. What do you want to tackle? What of the world's problems shall we conquer today?
So your book,
That you totally read all the way through.
Agency Survival Guide. Well, look, I thought so. It's not very long.
That's correct.
Like it is a pretty.
There's actually blank. Get this. There's actually blank pages in the back because
I know.
Because
To
Amazon.
get it to 100.
Yeah, to get it to 100.
Yeah,
Amazon
I see it.
So here was my.
So that was the game within the game while I'm reading it. I'm like,
Exactly.
Is
Well, and then you
Stretch
notice
this shit out.
he, yeah.
and then you notice a lot of pages that just have like questions.
You
They're
did-
like,
Ask yourself.
You did the
ask
joke.
yourself this.
You did the joke that they do on Family Guy when Brian Griffin writes a book, and then like it's like he writes it all like that. Like you fill it out basically, like a self-help book.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but when I was going through school, we had the period trick where you coded like the teacher would say you need to write a 5-page paper, and we would code. We would tell the computer to put 2 spaces after each period.
I'm a believer in that anyway.
And some people would put like 3 and 4, so it would make like a 3-page paper, a 4-page paper. I almost did the period trick with the book.
Sure. Well, you do the line spacing. Oh, it's a
Yeah, but the thing
that's a
here-
1.1.
Here was
teacher,
my approach
idiot
to it. I
teacher.
wanted it to be as short as possible. I can't stomach reading books, and so I wrote 30,000 words, and I read it, and 2/3 of the words were trash, so I took them out. And
We're
I
down to
made
10,000 words for those keeping score
yeah,
at home.
so I made a 10,000 word
Whoa.
book, and the greatest compliment I've gotten is from business people that have said, "I've actually read your book because it's so short."
Yeah,
Yeah. How about that? Novel idea.
but
So it
Your
it's
book
an-
about marketing and getting the point across in as little bit as possible, and it's a short book. Hey, how about that?
Yeah, so I didn't think anybody would read it, first of all, but it's turned out to be the greatest business asset for me because it is so short. And I finally got my first negative review on
Nice.
Amazon, which I was
Sorry,
quite-
dude. I had to, man. I was like, fuck.
after sulking,
he's drunk with power,
after
reviewing
sulking.
power.
Trash.
Um,
this shit.
But it turned out to be a compliment for me because it said that it was too short. So all the positive reviews are the exact same as the
They
negative.
wanted more.
That
And it's like you couldn't. It says 100 pages.
yeah.
It can't be long.
Why would you deduct any? What was the rating?
Yeah, he's like, I'm glad it was a discount. I priced the thing at like $2. Like, who is this? Just a bunch of Karens running around in the
Oh,
internet.
it's $10 on Amazon because I tried to give you a review, and it wouldn't let me because it thought I did because I took a picture of us holding the book from here, and it thought I was doing self promotion for the show, which I kind
thumbnail.
of was. But
right.
and then it wouldn't let me
Normie,
do the
just
review,
normie.
and then I tried to submit it again without that picture, just a normal picture, and then it was like, what did it say? It was like, it's because it was flagged the first time. They're like, I don't know if we're gonna let this one go, and I was like, what the fuck?
Well, you have a bad reputation.
And then I didn't buy it
Doing
through
this
Amazon.
shit
You sent
before.
it to me, so it's like I don't have that link.
Yeah.
So I think
Wow.
if you get flagged, it's hard for me to do it. So I'll,
Well, look,
I'll buy a
here's-
used one and just
I appreciate the thought, man. You made my day.
well, I genuinely do like it, and as Eric knows, one of the goals for this year is to have a book written, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this.
I'm gonna copy and paste Max's book.
Well, you can go perfection's enemy of good, right? So it's like I would try.
And I'm gonna trash it on the way out.
I would probably get into it. I'd start writing like, okay, it's got to be this. It's got to be getting kind of a little bit too grandiose with it. When it really, the idea of writing the book was the benefit you're getting out of it is what my business mentor was telling me. You need to write a book. So you have this kind of power move leverage to be like, I wrote a book, and then, or send it to people, or like, it's just a great quill or a great arrow in your quill of like, what you're doing for your career.
Yeah. And the ironic part is I talk to a lot of people that are like, oh, I don't have time to write a book. You look at their website, they've been writing blogs since like they were born. And it's all like half-ass kind of, it's not like perfect stuff.
Right.
So they're telling me the only difference between the blogs and the book is like putting 2 covers in between it and having the balls to do it. That was the thing that because I invested in a book 4 times and tried to write a book 4 times before I wrote this one. And the mind trick was finally, it's not done. You notice it says volume 30 on it.
Yeah.
That's because I said, well, shit, it's never going to be done. I'm never going to be satisfied. So I'll give myself permission to update the book every year. And then I was like, oh, well, I don't need to include, all these new ideas that I get every day. I just said like, all right, these are the friggin' ideas and we're going to see what happens.
Yeah.
And then now I've gotten too lazy to update it. So there you go.
Well, ride that mediocre review wave. That's feeling good about it. Or you kind of did like, my dick's too big to have sex with this chick that's too short. Like you basically did like a humble brag. I got my negative review. Said it was too short. But
yeah, 1 star. You're not a real.
Took a minute to get there
until you get a 1-star review because
have
like 100% 5-star reviews. It's all bullshit.
Oh, dude, that's about to go down. Where that stuff's about to get exposed big time. Like,
yeah,
there's so many fake reviews out there.
Yeah, fake reviews. You need some really passionate Karens that drag you down, and then it's all right.
Yeah, but that's you made it. You got to like a little bit of a level when you got a hater.
Yeah, I was a B student. The A students were weird.
I agree.
I agree too.
You're talking to a C+ right here. That was all I got.
Yeah, C+ is my
Dude,
my people.
Getting a C, I was like, fuck yeah. That's how bad of a student.
Pass.
I get A's in math. That would carry everything. That was so.
It is P, Dad. Stop hitting me.
It's funny you say that, the comparison or contrasting the blogs with the book kind of thing, because that was the method I was thinking. I was like, I should just write them as blogs, put them, just mash musings all together, and just put that as a book, and then I'll get the SEO value out of that.
I mean, we could have a book tomorrow.
Yeah.
With transcripts.
Well, I'll tell you what.
We got to go through it.
I think you're going about it the wrong way. You're a talker. I didn't write the blogs that became the chapters in the book. I spoke them. I'm a podcaster too. I just turned the microphone on, cracked a beer, and gave myself 30 seconds on each topic, and then that was it. And now I've got all this video content, short snippets of video content. Again, I'm challenged by having multiple human beings running around. So the ideas that I have for putting the videos together and releasing the video series, like that hasn't happened yet. But I have it all.
Yeah.
But point being, like, you got to do it your way.
Oh.
And sometimes you just take the shit that you say on video and you're like, yeah, it's a book. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
He's definitely a talker. So we did this, the last podcast we did where it was just the 2 of us, right? We finished the podcast. I'm like, man, I feel like I talked a lot that time. And we'd use the Otter.ai transcription service, which breaks up the amount of time that one of us was talking, the other one, because it was just the 2 of us. How much time in a time where I thought I talked a lot? How much time do you?
98 to 2 is my guess.
Percentage?
Yes, percentage.
I was going 80-20, but probably not.
No, almost dead on.
Really?
79% law. It was 79% law.
Yeah. Look,
21 me.
Brevity's the soul of wit, and I'm verbose. That's
you're the opposite.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you what, those weren't the numbers from our interview, because I rewatched our interview and it was 98 to 2.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Is like I was like, wow, I was really chatty Cathy that day. Wow, look at me doing all that talking 21% of the time. It was just the 2 of us. It wasn't even. It was like there was somebody else that I was stabbing in on.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where we're kind of like, what are we going to talk about? And I'm like, I always feel like it's better. Like if you do improv, you don't want to have two people balking. You
Right.
know?
Well, look, I recognize the podcast wouldn't be anything if you weren't a talking head that could just rattle off for minutes on
And
end
you're-
while I dick around on the computer.
Well, no, you're doing two things at once, which I can't do.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's how it works.
So for people listening or
But
watching,
it did blow my mind.
Eric's editing in real time as we're doing it. We don't do it afterward. So he's hitting the switcher while we're doing it.
What's this?
Ooh.
Well, bless
Max.
you guys. I
Us.
just
Max.
stopped editing.
No,
Whatever happens, happens.
we put the otter.ai transcripts on our site for every episode.
Yeah.
And we don't even edit that to be grammatical correct. Because we're just like, we want keywords. That's it. Who gives a shit?
Matter.
Yeah, I dig it. Yeah,
and
I'm saying,
So for writing the book, though, there's two. You're right. That is the way I do it a lot of the time. I will dictate in otter.ai while I'm driving because I go, okay, I've got this hour to 2 hours every day. I have to be driving in the car every workday, right? So I'm going to utilize that
racial
time.
slurs against bad drivers.
well, we can all look.
Those
Juan,
are my-
we can all agree. We can all agree you have the material and you understand the business case for a book. The real question is why aren't you doing it?
I am. That's what I'm saying. I'm working on it. But I feel like I don't want to put it out there like
Everyone on the planet is working on their
right.
book. They've
I
been
know.
working on it
I don't.
for-
That's why I don't want to put it out there like that. I put it on a goals list. We did the episode of our goals, or I did my goal list for the year. It's out there. But I don't want to front load the credit. I hate when people go, "Hey, I'm going to run a marathon this year. I'm training. I can't have another mimosa at brunch." And you're like, "Oh, good
But
for
those
you.
people
Good
end
for
up-
you."
But those people end up running the marathon.
No, they don't.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. They
Oh, I
front,
thought you were going to say they do it like 2 weeks later and
No,
be like,
they-
year's over.
I like the accountability part, but I don't like the front loading of credit for a thing you haven't done yet.
Yes, I hate that as well.
I'm kind of the opposite. I have to hack myself into doing it. So I'll publicly announce that I'm doing something that I know I'm probably not going to do. So I publicly announce it, and then I always come through.
Well, you come through, though.
Notice, like under pressure, if there's a date and people know, and I'm going to let them down, like I will come through. I will do my best work. So if I have an idea, sometimes I'll just like make an announcement, and then I'm like, oh shit, I guess it's happening now.
Yeah, but that's just you knowing yourself that it's like, if you don't do it that way, you probably ain't going to do it. You know, where it's like, if I put this on Facebook, Instagram, now I have to do it.
Yeah, well, that's the
Which
accountability
I
part.
totally get. I get it.
I'm cool with that, but it's not. You didn't do it to get cheers. You did it in the. You used that in the way it should be to be accountable. I'm just saying, like, I don't go. I on this show I'll talk about it, but I'm not going around like I'm working on my book. Just like that kind of thing.
Right.
I don't like that like demure like. Yeah, I'm
Well, look, if you want to get people to pay you more, you should tell them you're writing a book, and you should tell them about all your the biggest we talked about this last time, but I've got some clients that are like doctorates and like PhDs, and they don't talk about it, and I'm like, look, you got a pricing problem. You're Dr. Ken. You got a PhD in predictive analytics. You can predict the fucking future, and you're out here charging $100 an hour. No, sir.
Right.
If he's going by Dr. Ken, that's probably a problem.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
Dr. Genius.
But he didn't even call himself Dr. Ken. I started referring to him as Dr. Ken on calls.
You
And
rebranded
the
his
clients
name.
eat it up. They're like, oh, what does the good doctor think?
Okay.
And so anyway, point being is people play down their credibility, and used correctly, not in showboating, but just to let people know that, hey, I did get my doctorate in this, and that, that's why I'm really good at helping people.
Law, it was gonna abuse the living shit out of that.
No,
Absolutely.
I agree. I think I do.
Oh,
I
my
think I
buddy
do-
Eric's uploading our my book to the Otter.ai.
Subtle hints. I'm really excited because we just did our 320th episode of Sweat Equity, which is our podcast. So my business partner is slapping me around.
Is that what number we're on? Did you know what number it was going to be?
Well, no,
'Cause I don't know. Hold on.
You've got 317 out. I was 309 before because
He didn't know.
So
He didn't
it's
know we
319.
recorded one right before this. This
Right.
one's coming out a week later. Ha.
He's off by
I'm
one.
assuming I'm your only guest.
No. Oh man, we just had
No,
Boss
we've had this
Babe
dude
on.
standing in the corner this whole time making notes, being like, "This guy's an idiot."
He's a gimp. Don't worry about him. He's like from Pulp Fiction.
Lives
Pulp
life.
Fiction.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I am.
As soon as I unstrap that buckle, he's gonna let you have it, dude.
Zip that thing up. Zip
the
it
red
up.
ball at me.
You have to be quiet on the set.
You can leave it
Yeah.
unzipped.
But yeah, you use your, it's okay to use your credibility and use your accomplishments. And if you are writing a book, tell people you're writing a book. I got like for 3 months, I got all my business calls by interviewing people for my book. I didn't have a book yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that as well, just as not really calculated for that, but I do know that will spark up a lot of talks because in the COVID era, it was one of those things where, for better or worse, I even tried to be a little bit proactive to reach out to people, see what's going on, make sure. I like calling people up just randomly because I have to drive to gigs or whatever. So you have all this weird time in the car. I'm like, I might as well call people I haven't talked to that I want to talk to. And when COVID happened, it was like they kind of disappeared in a way. So it's like kind of starting to reach out to people again for that kind of thing, just to say what's up. And I was thinking about that with the book, as we probably just will transcribe episodes.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
But
So what do you got? You had 2 weeks to prepare, Mr. Law. What's
Look at
on
this
your
guy.
Yeah,
mind?
Mr. Law, what's the deal,
look at
dude?
this guy
What,
hijacking
you got
the
no
host
fucking,
duties.
he's just
You can't. You guys couldn't let it. You guys couldn't let it just breathe.
We're burning candles here. I got
got-
people.
I mean,
waiting
what are we
outside.
talking
We're at
about?
minute-
I got friends lined up in chairs outside my office doors.
Right.
Waiting.
I'm respectful of time.
People are in the pool as we speak. Okay,
People are noodle
they
fighting,
are out
guys.
there. There's chicken fights going
We
on.
got
Hot
to the
dogs
end
are
of it.
burning, and you have nothing.
We're doing slow-mo video of us catching the football in the pool, and we're going to send it to Dude Perfect. Come on.
All right, well, that's a
Um,
plan.
So,
We have a plan.
I love the book. I don't think you limped into it. Like you kind of have been describing the process.
There was no limping.
I think what I really took away is the how concise a lot of the meaningful parts were. So there's a lot of good nuggets in there that I can't pull up on my phone right now. But no, but there's a lot of,
And can't recall because you didn't read it.
I read it. I just can't retain it. But I'm saying
What's the difference?
reading comprehension part of SAT.
That's what I read it every night before I go to
Right.
bed. What's it about? I can't tell you.
Well, I'm basically
Bible
Memento.
murderer.
Um,
Read it every night.
But if anything, for me personally, it's something that it's good to go through this. I earmarked some stuff that, as I'm working on productizing things for work.
Way to use Max's word, Law.
You didn't make it up.
What does that mean?
Making
Max
something.
didn't make it up.
Oh man, I didn't know he was going to ask professor questions.
Remember, things and steps.
I know.
There
I
you
know
go,
About, I know about things
idiot.
and steps.
Last
didn't
time
know that?
we did all the caveman definitions.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
I pretty much know. Yeah, I got
I
it.
remember. I was there.
Remember?
Dude, my short-term memory sucks so bad. You think I'd chain smoke weed? It's one
We've
of those.
got the talker and we've got the listener.
Yeah.
Also, memory not so good.
Well, that's also the thing of like why I'm not like trying to weave in. I'm writing a book into every conversation because I'm already.
Yeah, I know. You
really
told
know
me
what
500
it's
times, Law. You're writing a book.
I'm already
5 years ago, you
What's
said
it
you were
about?
writing
I
a
haven't
book.
read it.
an oversharer, and I'm already like I'm sick of myself.
Have
listening.
I mentioned I'm writing a book? I got nothing.
I used to be a good listener. Now I'm just like, blah.
When's it my turn?
I deem it thirsty for stage time in real life.
When are we gonna catch a break?
So your book is good. I think you really I think you undersold it. Yeah, turning the tables on you, huh? But I think
I sent it to you in the mail.
I'm saying about as it's not. I think we started this episode with you talking about having blank pages and stuff. That's not.
Well, blank, that's just for Amazon because they wouldn't let me. But let me give you a little secret. That
This was supposed to be a compliment. I was trying to do. I really liked it. How about that?
Yeah, no, and you made my day. You did, and because like I
For
said,
the audio listeners, Max
For the
did
audio
air
listener.
quotes.
made
My day, air quotes all over the place.
my day. Yeah, but it's surprisingly like there's a lot of. I'm not a self-conscious person by any means, but you write the thing and you ship it and you're like, man, I wonder what, like, now it's there. It's like a thing. It's like more than, you know, like a blog that's kind of excusable. And you just got to get over that because nobody cares.
Right.
Nobody, there's so many shitty books out there.
Right.
And so many people are going to think your book is shitty. It's really about just finding one person that says, hey, this was great. This was different. It was short. Thank you. Cool. So it's a huge compliment for me, and I appreciate it. But let me give you a tip, because in each video I needed a formula, and the formula was story, analogy, rule. For each of the topics, I remembered the story of like when I discovered it, and I started the video with that, like when I was walking to my dad's office, or when the client fired me, or like when something happened. And then some analogy, because I use analogies a lot to like make it fun and approachable. And then, but it always had to come in the end to a rule. And I didn't put a lot of the rules in the book because it ended up sounding pretty redundant. But the rule, like pulling everything into one sentence that's like, okay, what do you need to know about this? You know, free is not valuable. You have to be able to translate something into like, what the hell are you trying to say? And that was a really good exercise, and I think the book is a result of that kind of thought process, and always bringing it to a really fine point, and then don't say anything that doesn't need to be said. I mean, the cutting board was sharp, and if I didn't need to say it, my editor was circling things to explain more. She didn't have anything to delete. She just said like, okay, I like this. Explain that a little more with like, give me something, because I don't even know what you're talking about at this point.
It's called literary edging.
Yeah. You know,
give me some context. What do you
just don't. Just don't. Just don't.
But you know, but I thought like, so we're used to an editing cadence like that, right? That I did notice that, because you'd be like, you'd start getting into a thought, an idea, and then it would end with a Ernest Hemingway like really short sentence, and then you're like, most books would go into a lot more about that after that, and it would just.
And let me give you 6 stories, and nobody cares.
Next idea, right? And so one thing, like I was really like, all right, for example, the part about when you're going from being just the marketer to the strategist and making the VIG that you should make, right? So one big takeaway I really thought about for a while was, you know, be the strategist and then be able to sub out the service side and get the VIG on that from the service, from, you know, an agency or something.
I left my agency in 2014, and I told them, because I was doing sales and strategy at the time, and I said, hey, I'm still going to do sales and strategy. I'm just going to charge for the strategy, and I'm going to give you the implementation work, and I want 20%.
There you
and
go.
I could, and they couldn't say, oh, well, there's not enough margin, because I would just sell it for whatever I wanted, because I did the strategy, I was in charge. And so if I knew they were selling it for 10,000 before, I'd sell it for 12,000, and I'd get 20% residuals. I made more money that year that I left my agency than I had ever made before. And half of it was passive digital scalable residual income. The only thing is, service businesses are unreliable and go through a lot of.
That's my next question, right? Did you manage them like when you made those deals? Because I'm trying to think.
The answer is negative.
You just go. Here's the preferred partner. Here you go. They're going to do it.
Here you go.
How'd that turn out?
Well, so when you directly refer somebody, or you're in an advisory capacity, and you say, and you make a direct recommendation, I think you should work with these people.
Mm-hmm.
When it inevitably becomes time to change vendors or fire those people, you are also on the chopping block.
Right.
And so I learned that to preserve the relationship, and for my ability, as I got better charging for strategy, and I actually took strategy from project work to retained business, I realized that it was much better for me to distance myself from the implementation. So instead of making the recommendation, I would teach them how to evaluate vendors. Vendor evaluation became a part of my service. How can I be a vendor when I'm teaching you how to ask the right questions and evaluate vendors? Now, when it comes time to fire them, guess who gets a phone call?
Not you.
Right.
I get a phone call.
Yes, you do. But you're doing the firing, Doc.
Well, but the question is,
I don't know what's
we are
happening.
so bad when anybody comes on this podcast and does a question like that. Like, are you listening, basically?
Right.
We always choose the
I don't
wrong
know
one,
what the answer is, but I'm going to say something.
but I know we were
It's
both
gonna
like
be-
into
It's
it.
going to be first.
I echo, I was like, yeah, not you.
50-50 shot, but you got to go strong.
We are so bad
Go
at that.
strong.
Every
That's
time someone asks them
all
like
that matters.
are you
Well, look,
listening question.
you're like me when I was a kid. Like, I would always raise my hand and volunteer for things.
Max, by the way, is younger than both Law and I.
Yeah.
I remember being a child like you
I
too.
remember 3 years ago when I was in grade school. No, but what was I going to say? You're in a position. Look, the holy grail is when you are telling your clients who to spend money with and how much.
Right.
And you can't. The ironic part is you can't tell them, because then you're on the chopping block as well. You have to remain a unbiased advisor, and you want the phone calls when they say, "Hey, I want to stop paying these people. What do you think? Am I going crazy? Has it just been, is it just me, or are they slipping here? Can you help us evaluate whether we should be switching vendors, whether we should be in-house, whether we should bring this role in-house?" Like, you want to be the person supporting them in those really important decisions, and some of the most important decisions an organization makes is who to work with and who to pay and how much to pay them. I want that phone call.
Yeah. That was one big takeaway, because I just kind of mulled that over for a while. But then I was like, the book's linear in a way of like, kind of like, of you, like you were saying, kind of discovering an idea, building on that idea, then building on this idea. And you admittedly put like any failures in there. Like, a lot of the stories you echoed them in our last episode. So if anybody's listening, go back. But I really took away a lot of good stuff. But now I feel like
episode 309.
309.
Mm-hmm. Love it. You watch it all the time.
Your
wife's like, again?
I start every day with episode 309. I'll tell you right now.
Your wife's like, stop making the kids watch this. Okay? We get it. You're on a famous podcast. Look, I don't want to keep you from the pool basketball jam, whatever party you got going on.
Well, we're here, man. I know you prepared a bunch
Max
of
don't want to go.
questions. I know you got your notes there, and you got an important.
I got a
stuff.
jet too, but I'm saying, look, part of the show is just to shoot the shit.
Max is not. Max wants to chill.
We need to get you away from stuff. I forgot.
Do you actually have to leave? Max and I can sit and talk for hours.
Yeah.
What time you got to leave?
I got a hard out 7:15.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, then I might leave you with this, but it might spark more discussion. I was thinking about what didn't we talk about last time? We talked a lot about raising prices.
Perceived value.
We talked a lot about perceived value. None of those things work if you don't have more opportunities than you can service.
Mm-hmm.
Your pipeline needs to be overflowing. If it's not, and you let fear and hunger take over, you are never in a position to raise your prices. You are never you need to be talking to your clients going, look, I got clients knocking on my door that will pay me twice as much as you're paying me.
Right.
So let's figure this out.
Yeah.
You want
you're a hot chick.
People
Very
cling
loose
on
butthole.
to this retainer idea.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone's like, I want retainers. For somebody that knows how to fill the pipeline, retainers are the enemy.
Yeah.
You want that business turning over so that you can charge more or do less. You want to be able to charge more and do less. That's the name of the game in a professional services business. And you can't do that with long-term retainers. It just doesn't work. So take those long-term relationships, make it more short-term sprints. Quarterly is nice. And during COVID, I think companies are a little bit more receptive to shorter-term engagements. But it gives you the opportunity to upsell, and people are just clinging on to the safety of retained work.
Right.
The only thing I can guarantee you
Comfort. I got my IT guy.
No, I can
Yeah,
predict.
yeah.
I can predict revenue. That's
They're
what you're trying to
gonna-
get to for so long when you're starting out and you're like,
I don't want to be able to predict.
I know,
revenue.
but I'm saying like that. I'm saying the reason you get a boner for retainers is also you never look back at like, why was I so excited to get retainers when we're really kind of growing this thing up.
It's really nice to have those retainers at certain points.
And it's
Well,
like
dollar, yeah. I mean, but if your objective, I mean, we won't even get into people's goals and planning because people don't plan. I've found, but in a professional services business, it's time for dollars. So your objective should be to make clear progress over time in the amount of money you are making per hour on the whole. And retainers are a surefire way of bringing that down. You will inevitably do more work to keep the account because you're not out there hunting and killing for yourself. You're clinging on to the one meal you got. Insert analogy, but anyway,
no,
that's
you're
just
100% right with that. We'll tease that out. We'll chew on it next time you come on. Look, you talked about periods at the beginning, the period strategy.
We'll have you on like a period once a month.
Bam.
I can read Law's mind,
Yeah.
by the way.
It was a joke I wanted to slide in earlier and I couldn't get it in.
Sorry, fucko.
Because I really thought you were talking about a period, not like a point.
I think we got it.
I know, but I'm just reiterating how dumb my brain.
literary dots.
Yeah, how dumb my brain is at first blush on some things.
And you're writing a book.
Right.
This fucking guy.
It's a coloring book.
Got no periods because I'm not that kind of guy.
Right.
It's a pop-up book. Mhm.
4 periods in it.
Well, I do speak in
pop-up book.
run-ons, so that works.
Yes.
I like that idea. A pop-up book would be nice, or a coloring book.
They say it suits the adults nowadays to do an adult coloring book.
Business coloring book.
Pop-up adult coloring book. It's a pop-up
Pop-up
huge
coloring book.
dong.
Can ima-
Do whatever
They all look like
shade of
erections.
Corolla you want.
Sure.
Got any other brilliant ideas?
Yep, I think that ends it.
I bet that would fucking crush. By the way, guys.
Yeah, probably. Probably. Write
Doing
that
a
shit down.
coloring book. I'm doing an adult coloring book.
An adult coloring book. I'm saying, but
Yeah.
it's all the naughty bits.
We
Naughty-
get
the
it's gonna be
naughty
an
bits-
adult like
We
porno.
can call it the
coloring
naughty
book.
bits of marketing. This is gold.
Perfect. All right. See, this is what the
Wait,
show's
what was
about.
the thing that we were talking about earlier that I was like, don't
You have to listen to your own
Shit.
voice. Ha.
You're the editor.
You gotta listen to the beginning again. All right. You're the man. I love you so much. Oh, I can't believe you came back on. Thanks for coming back on. And
Well, I love you so much, Matt.
Well, like a good period, I'll be back next
State
month.
Farm is there.
boom. All right, buddy.
Thanks, dude.
Peace.